Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry and Plurk. It is January 7th, 2013, and this is episode 9, Cookie A Parade. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. So, how was your New Year's? Mine was very uneventful. The kids were asleep by 9, Steve was asleep by like 9:15. I stayed up until 10 or 10:30 and then went to sleep after having an adult beverage with some online friends. Yeah, we party really hard here. Yeah. Anyway, exciting news. I got my license. Yay! I am not the only person who has gotten their first driver's license at age 26. My best friend got hers when she was 26. A girl I went to college with, she got hers last year after she was 26. And I have a friend, she's actually one of my sister's best friends, who is 25 and doesn't have her license yet and probably won't get it until she's 26. So I'm not the only one. There's a small group of us. Other than that, not a lot has been going on here. Kids are much better. They only cough like once a day, and that's usually when they wake up. They cough a little bit, and then they're fine. In other exciting news, I cannot wait for the Michigan trip, which is starting. We're leaving on Wednesday. We're driving up on Wednesday night. So that will be really fun and exciting. I love going to Michigan, but we will talk about that in a little while. What that means for this podcast is that I will probably not be recording next Monday because we will be driving back on Monday. That's the plan, is to drive back on Monday. We might drive back Sunday, but either way, I probably won't get to record on Monday, so I'll record on Tuesday. I still don't have my camera cord, but one of my tech-savvy friends said maybe I could find the SD slot on my computer, and that would work, because the cord isn't working, but maybe the SD slot would work. I don't know. I'll try it. Maybe I'll get 3 episodes up this week. Maybe there'll be 4 on my camera next week. Who knows? Anyway, that's my week. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'm sorry if I'm really distracted again. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning for no reason. Well, that's not true. Mara woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. But on to content. The knit and crochet along for the stuffed toys for Hurricane Sandy kids victims, that ended today. And other than what I made, we had 1 entry. So, Gwen, who is Sit and Knitty, you win! I'll be in contact with you probably later today, but, sometimes I sit down at my computer and forget what I'm doing with my life. So, in the next few days, I will get in contact with you about what pattern you would want. I don't mind that only 1 person joined along, because that means that 1 more toy was made for these kids. So it doesn't bother me that it was only 1 person. And I greatly appreciate that 1 person joining. Thank you, Gwen. That brings me to the next knit, crochet, spin, the next craft along that I'm doing. It started January 1st, and it is going to go until February 18th. The craft along is to make something for yourself. Coming off of all of the holiday crafting, not everybody does holiday crafting for other people, but I did. I am still doing. I'm not quite done yet, but you'll see that in a moment. It is nice to make something for yourself. I have a hard time making things for myself. I start things and then set them aside to work on things for other people, unless it's a project that only takes me a few hours, and then I'm able to finish things for myself. But for instance, socks. The only reason I have a pair of socks that I made for myself is because I made them for a Nerd Wars challenge. and, you know, I was motivated to get the points for my team. So this month and into next month, make something for yourself. Go ahead and tag it with BPH Self, SELF, Bunnyfish Self. You can pick up a work in progress or start something new for yourself. I know a lot of people start things for themselves and set them aside for other people. This would be a great time to pick them back up and finish something nice for yourself. I haven't decided on a prize yet. I will get to it next week maybe. Right now my brain is all Michigan trip, Michigan trip, Michigan trip. So I haven't decided what the prize will be, but something pretty awesome probably. What I am making, I started and got, I don't know, 3-ish rounds into. This is Plymouth Happy Feet in the colorway number 1. Like literally 1, not the number 1. Some people on Ravelry have called it an olivey color. It's this lovely light green with darker green. Really, it reminds me of a forest floor, kind of dappled. I'm going to be making the Kai Mei socks by Cookie A. And this yarn is the first sock yarn that I received. When I said I wanted to learn how to do sock knitting, my best friend's mom sent me 2 different colorways of this, and I used the first colorway for my sister, for a gift for her, and then this is going to be for me. And that was, you know, almost 2 years ago. I don't have the tag. Sorry, I'm looking for the tag, and I don't have it up here. I don't know where a lot of the tags for my yarns are. I'm just going to say that right now. Mara took all of the papers in the back of my notebook, so I'm sure I'll find them while I'm cleaning before our Michigan trip, but I don't have them right now. Anyway, I got this yarn, and I had set it aside for a different pattern, but then I got Sock Innovation by Cookie A from the library, and saw Kai Mei, and I was like, yes, I will make those socks in green yarn that is similar to the green yarn that she used. So that's what I'm doing. And I edited the pattern because I'm using size 2 needles instead of size 1. I'm using 2.75 millimeters. So I only cast on 60 stitches instead of 66 stitches, which is how the pattern recommended to change sizes. So that is what I'll be making. Hopefully you will be making something fantastic for yourself. I can't wait to see people chatting about it, or, well, hopefully eventually some finished objects in the middle of February. And now I'm just babbling. So let's move to finished objects. I have a lot this week. And you will see why this is called Cookie A Parade right now. Starting with the Kai Mei that I'm going to be making for myself, and then I finished a pair of socks for Mara. Her feet are so little. Look at how little. I used the pattern Monkey by Cookie A. And this is Premier Yarns Serenity Sock Weight in the colorway Paprika. I used US size 2, 2.75 needles to make these socks. I also finished the socks for Gabriel using the BFF sock by Cookie A to make those cables. And you might recognize this yarn as the socks that I made for Steve for Thanksgiving. I edited Cookie A's pattern to make these toe up so that I could use all of the yarn, as much yarn as I could. I ended up with 1 yard left over, when I was done with these socks, which is good because I've already put that sock yarn in my blanket for 3 squares, I think, and I'm just done with it. It's nice enough, but it is brown. I have a lot of brown in my sock yarn blanket. So anyway, I'm glad that's all used up. And also, I did wedge socks by Cookie A. Yep, surprise, surprise. And these are for my nephew, Robert. US size 2, 2.75. All of the kids' socks are made on US size 2. I think I forgot to mention that with Gabriel's socks, but US size 2, 2.75 millimeters. These are Robert's wedge socks, and they are in Peyton's Croix Stretch in the Spearmint colorway. I didn't get the stripes to match up, but I like how they don't match up. I think it's really, really cool. Those are Robert's socks. And I finished a shawl. I might have to move around so you can see it. This is the Serafina shawl that I was doing as part of a crochet along for the Newtown people, survivors. I don't know how well you can see that. It is a really big black shawl. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think you can see it now. I think you can see most of it now. I don't know. The direction my camera is pointing is not being conducive for me to see if you can see it. But that's the Serafina shawl. Here is half of it. And I used Caron Simply Soft Black and Teal. Not teal, Ocean. And a US size H hook, which is 5.0 millimeters. Basically, my plan was, I was originally going to do this all out of black, but then I looked at how much black I had, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to be big enough, because I had 2 partial skeins. So I pulled out the Ocean, and I was like, well, I'll use that a little bit too. So I ended up using all but very small, little tiny balls of leftovers for both of those colors, and that's how I determined how big the shawl was going to be. So yay stash busting. I really didn't want to go out and buy more yarn because I mentioned last week, which you haven't seen yet, that, well, maybe by the time you watch this one, if you watch them in order, I don't really want to be purchasing yarn just to purchase yarn, and I really want to be stashing down this year because I found several boxes of yarn in the last couple weeks as I've been cleaning out my storage room because I had boxes that hadn't been opened in 6 years, some of them. So I want to work from stash as much as possible for a lot of things. So I did for that shawl, and I'm going to mail it off tomorrow because she needs it. The woman holding the knit/crochet along needs them later this week. I really wanted to get the Cookie A slide socks that I'm making for my nephew. I wanted to get those done this week, but it didn't happen. I'm not terribly disappointed. I'm already on the foot, and there you go. I'm already on the foot. As you can see, the foot isn't too long, and they're matching up pretty well. Not exactly. Right at the top, it is about 1.5 rows off, rounds. So the stripes aren't perfect, and you can see on the heel, this heel doesn't have any brown in it. And this heel does, just has a little bit. So you can see that the heels are a little bit different. Right at the top, it is about 1.5 rows off, rounds. So the stripes aren't perfect, and you can see on the heel, this heel doesn't have any brown in it. And this heel does. Just has a little bit. So you can see that the heels are a little bit different. But the stripes are matching up pretty well. So hopefully that'll be good enough for my nephew. Sometimes he's really picky, but hopefully he'll just like that I made him socks and that they have this awesome stripy pattern on them. I will be finishing these definitely before we leave. No doubt about it. These are going to be done tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I'll probably get to the toe decreases tonight and then be like, ugh, no way. Because that's how I do. I get to the toe decreases and I'm like, really? Really? Can't these just be done now? I don't know why, but that's like pretty much every top-down sock. That's how it happens. I feel that same way about the cuff when I'm doing toe up. I'm like, oh, please just finish yourself while I'm sleeping. And they never do, but I'm always hopeful that the sock knitting fairies will come along. But anyway, that is how much I have left. See, 1, 2, 3 color sections. It's not very long, not very far either, because this ribbing, there becomes less ribbing as you go across. So more just stockinette, so that's even faster, not having to worry about the ribbing. I'm making these on US size 2, 2.75 millimeter needles. My hair is bothering me today. I'm sorry. I know I keep throwing my head around like a crazy. I'm using Peyton's Croy socks. I can't remember if I told you last week, but I did end up using my leftovers. This used up more than half of a skein, and this was more than half of a skein leftover. It was like 2 or 3 grams more than the weight of this sock. So this will be almost gone when I finish this sock. And then I'll only have about half a skein left over instead of, well, less than. I'll have, like 40% of a skein instead of a skein plus 60% or something, which is what I had before I started these. Well, I mean, I went out and bought this specifically for these socks, but I think you know what I'm saying. I just feel like I'm word vomiting at you. I'm sorry. That was my hand in your face, too, and it was huge. Sorry about that. I talk with my hands. Normally you can't see because the camera is a little bit higher, I think. So I'm sorry if you're getting motion sick from all of the movement. Anyway, that is the last Cookie A pattern that I did this week. But that's a lot of Cookie A. That's 5. Yeah, that's 5. Anyway, another work in progress is socks I'm making for my friend Melissa. US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. This marker shows where I was last week, so I didn't do a ton of progress, but you might be able to see the brown that I put in for the afterthought heel. So I'm officially past the point of afterthought heel putting in. And now I'm just going to work the legs up. This is my original pattern. I mean, it's not the most original pattern ever, but I made it up, and I'm really liking the way it's working out. I am officially 1 round past the yarn put in for the afterthought heel. I will be working on these right after I finish Kenny's socks. These are my next priority for needs to be done, because I want to leave them in Michigan. I want them to be done when I go to Michigan. I want Melissa to be able to have them. I don't want to have to mail them to her, which, I mean, it's not a big deal mailing things to people. I don't have a problem with it. But if I can avoid that, then I'm definitely going to avoid that. So I'm going to be working on them pretty hard this week. You probably won't see these socks or Kenny's socks on the show next week, unless I have to bring these back, because they'll be going to their recipients. And you won't be seeing this work in progress either. I am making another Cthulhu. I got another custom order. It's time for a green one. It's a hodgepodge mishmash of patterns used in this Cthulhu, so it's kind of my own because I looked at a whole bunch of patterns and I was like, I like this, 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 and this, and mashed them together. So I'm not very far. I just got to the tentacle round, which means I'm almost done with the head. You might remember that it's like a sphere and another sphere, and that's the head and body, and then arms, legs, and wings. Do you like that Cthulhu? Because I'm actually really, really pleased with the Cthulhu I just made with my hands for you. I thought it was pretty awesome. Anyway, I got a custom order this morning. I hit on my Etsy store. Probably going to have to go out tonight after Steve gets home. Even though I have my license, I am not completely comfortable driving by myself because I had my permit when we lived in Michigan, and I drove all the time. But then we moved to Kentucky, and I haven't driven very much. I drove one time since we have been down here. So I haven't driven in 2.5 years, plus we didn't have a car for the last 6 months we were in Michigan, so 3 years I haven't really driven, so driving makes me nervous. I drove us to the gym on Sunday, and since I got my license. And yeah, that's about it. So I could just take me and the kids to Joann's, but first of all, taking the kids somewhere just to get yarn, that's kind of silly. It's just a lot of work to do by myself. And second, I'm still a little bit nervous. I might drive myself tonight after Steve gets home, but we're getting the yarn after Steve gets home. I'm not doing it in the middle of the day. But this might be enough. I don't know. We'll see. First I'm going to work on this. This is going to be my first project today, and then Kenny's socks, and then Melissa's socks, just so you know what my priorities are. Because I would like to get this out tomorrow when I do a post office run. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a special post office run for the Cthulhu. I don't really want to do that, because Wednesday we're supposed to leave for Michigan, so I'm going to have all sorts of packing, cleaning, and last-minute things to do on Wednesday without having to do a post office run. Anyway, Karen 1 pound. Forest floor. USD, which is 3.25 millimeter hook. All 4 of my works in progress this week should be done next week. But I don't know if you're going to see them, because here's project number 4. Sitting behind me. This is the last bit of fiber that I have after I finish up this. This is my wrist distaff from Mary Bear's Oso Etsy on Etsy. Oso Etsy, did I say that? Oso Crafty on Etsy. That's what it is. So this is the baby doll South Down that I got from Carrie in the Tour de Fleece. She sent that to me because I had run out. That is all I have left, and I want to clear off my spindle for the Michigan trip because my friend Mary Lee wants me to spin her some stuff, but I'll get to that in a minute. So that will be completed, but I can't do it the normal way, but hi, Wayne's World, that's where it came from. Anyway, into new ideas. My best friend Mary Lee wants me to make her some yarn for Yarn Falls, and she wasn't able to get fiber because fiber is a little bit expensive. It's not horrible expensive, but it's a little bit expensive when you don't have money for it. So I might take that yarn to her, and even though it's already plied, I'm thinking I can just go through and overspin all of it, and then essentially like cable ply it with ribbon and fabric and stuff, and still make her the art yarn, but I have that fiber that I don't really have plans for. So if she can use it, and that works for her, then that is what I'm going to use. I'm really excited about spinning her some stuff, and I really, really want to do it because yesterday at knitting, I mentioned that I wanted to clear off my spindle because I was talking about all the things that I wanted to get done before the Michigan trip, and Lorraine was like, oh, I was like, I want to clear off my spindle so that I can spin some fat art yarn for my friend. And Lorraine was like, oh, did you get a new spindle? Because, this spindle right here is, it's not very heavy. It's pretty lightweight, especially because it's broken. And I said, no, I don't. She's like, well, maybe I can find, some boat anchors, some heavier spindles to help you spin some art yarn. So she is letting me borrow 2 of her spindles to take to Michigan. Except now Marilee doesn't have fiber. I actually found some fibers in my stash from Carrie that might work for what Marilee wants. I took pictures and sent them to her, and I'm waiting to hear back from her to see if I should bring some, and we'll figure out bartering of goods later because we don't really exchange dollars between us. We just exchange goods and services. So I really, really want to spin her some yarn still. She should have all of the other things that she wants, like feathers and beads and scraps of fabric and commercial yarns. She has all of those. She just doesn't have fiber. So if I can supply the fiber, which I had but didn't have like a real plan for it except spin this someday, I'm lost what I was saying. If I can supply the fiber and she can supply all the stuff, that'll be good, and I will get to try out Lorraine's spindles, and I'm really excited about that. I don't have them in the house. They're actually already in the car. They never came in after coming home with me because I didn't want to have a moment of stupid and set them down somewhere where Mara or Gabriel could find them and then have them get broken, because I'm sure that her spindles are like the 45 and up range of spindles, whereas the one that Mara broke is the $2 spindle. The cup hook might be more than that, I'm not sure, but the dowel is like $1 probably. So I left them outside so you can't see them, but I will take pictures when I'm spinning and insert them in next week's podcast. Hopefully she likes some of the fibers that I have because she has all of the other stuff. And Lorraine is so nice, like ridiculously nice. Not only is she letting me borrow her spindles, but she threw in some blocks that are colored that are for spinning into art yarn. So she threw in a little baggie of that into the bag. Yeah, and she ran home. She went home from the knitting group and picked them up so that I could have them, so that I wouldn't have to try to figure out when to get them before leaving on Wednesday. Yeah, she's really, really nice. I really, really appreciate everything Lorraine has done for teaching me how to spin and supporting my spinning habit. So, yes, pictures next week. You will see them. And hopefully Marilee likes some of, that's my best friend, Marilee. Hopefully she likes some of the fibers so we can actually do this, because I really, really want to make art yarn. I'm really, really pumped to make some art yarn. I just haven't yet. Not intentionally. Anyway. The other idea is, I would like to say really quick, a quick thank you to all of the designers on Ravelry who have had free coupon codes for free patterns in the past week. I have used 4 or 5 coupon codes from different designers and now own more patterns that I'm really, really excited for. I told you about the sweater pattern that I got last week for free. I have also acquired a few sock patterns, and I don't remember what else I got. But anyway, so one of those sock patterns, this woman posted in one of the groups on Ravelry that she had come across this designer and who had this coupon code, so I went there and then came back to the thread where I had found it, and I said, oh, I got this sock pattern, which is called Breathless, I don't remember the designer's name, didn't write it down. I'm not going to make them right now, so that's why I didn't. But I said, oh, now these belong to me. And she said, okay, well, I'll be sending you, the woman who posted them in the first place, I'll be sending you my shoe, my foot measurements, and some yarn, and you can make them for me. Oh, you didn't get that that was part of the agreement? Very tongue-in-cheek. She wasn't like, it wasn't like a rude thing. It was, I knew that she was joking and didn't expect me to be like, okay, but I was like, okay, yeah, send me some yarn and some, and your feet measurements, and I will totally make you socks. I really, 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 really like making socks, but I am not running out of people to make socks for, but I'm running out of people to make socks for. Because Steve only wears my socks that I make him on the weekends, because they make his feet too hot while he's working, because he's constantly on his feet and walking around, and his feet just get too hot. So he only wears them on the weekends. I'm about to make myself 8 pairs of socks, plus I have 4 pairs of socks, and I only wear socks in the wintertime. Like, as soon as my feet aren't going to be cold from going barefoot, I don't wear socks anymore. I love being barefoot, but I also love socks. So, 12 pairs of socks for me. That is more than enough for wintertime. I just finished 7 pairs of socks for my mom. I have made my sister 3 or 4 pairs already, plus 3 pairs of thigh highs, either on the needles or going to be on the needles, and another pair that I have just waiting. No, 2 more pairs that I have the yarn for. I'm sure she would take more pairs of socks than that, but I feel like that's a lot of handmade socks for one person. And each of my kids are going to have 1 pair, which is plenty for children who don't wear their socks ever, except when we're leaving, they put on their socks so they can put on shoes, and that's it. So, P.S., if you would like me to knit you some socks, I will do it. I take payment in yarn, in sock yarn, for my sock yarn blanket. So, you know, if you send me yarn to make you a pair of socks and there's a little bit left over, I'll be keeping that little bit left over to make my sock yarn blanket. Yeah. I will totally make people socks. So anyway, she said she wants to lose a little bit of weight first before she sends me her feet measurements. And I said, okay, as soon as you are where you want to be for sending you the feet measurements, do it. And I will make you some socks. So yeah, that's really exciting. Right now, if I did them right now, they would be the first pair of socks that I will have made with beads, which is interesting. Really, the only non-Christmas tree project that I've ever made with beads. I don't use a lot of beads. Not for any particular reason, I just haven't. So, yeah, that will be probably around summertime, she said, that she would get that to me. I can wait. I can wait for summertime. I don't mind. On to books. I finished Stardust, which is so good. It's in the car waiting to be returned. I just didn't bring anything in from the car for the podcast. Sorry. It's in the car waiting to be returned. It is so good. I didn't really summarize last week, but I feel like I should. I said it takes place in Fairy, but it takes place in Fairy with 4 people who are looking for a star to use, a fallen star to use for their own ends. And I'll just tell you, there are 2 brothers who are not actually looking for the star. They're looking for a pendant that the star, that falls at the same time as the star, because they both want to be the lords of their father's household. 3 of them, 3 brothers. Sorry, 2, not 2, it's 3. 3 brothers who want to be the new lords because their father, right before he dies, throws his pendant out of the window and says, whoever gets this, they get to be the new lord. So they're searching for it. There's the boy who tells his true love, or who he thinks is his true love. Spoiler alert! She says to find the star that they just watched fall, and then she will grant him whatever he wants. So he goes looking for the star, and there is a witch who's looking for the star to have eternal youth. So it's all about all their journeys and how their paths cross, and it's really, really, really good. So Stardust by Neil Gaiman, go read it. I'm sorry, Gabriel's being really loud in the background. I also got Witchlight by Marion Zimmer Bradley on audiobook, and it was only 3 hours long. I listened to it in 3 days. I did 1-hour chunks while I was cleaning and spinning my main floor, which is where I'm recording right now, this area. Clean every day. And I do 15 minutes of cleaning, 15 minutes of spinning, and that's how I do, the 1 hour. It doesn't take me 1 hour to clean up here. So my kids are messy, but they're not that messy. That was pretty good. It's not, sorry, those are my penguin pajamas. I'm not wearing real pants today because I just don't feel like it. Not going anywhere until maybe later, but maybe going, so. Anyway, Witchlight was okay. I didn't like it as much as The Mists of Avalon because it wasn't a fairy tale. It was okay. I would listen to, there's another book by Marion Zimmer Bradley that's like, it has the same characters, but neither one is like the prequel or sequel. They just share some characters. I would listen to that one too on audiobook. I might even read it in hard copy if I couldn't find it on audiobook, but I didn't love it. Not like I love Sword of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. I found it at the library when I went to look for more audiobooks for something for our trip. And I saw it and I was like, yep, I'm getting that. It came home with me, and I'm only through the first CD, and there are 14 CDs. I finished the first one this morning. I really like to spin while I'm listening to Marion Zimmer Bradley's books because a lot of the female characters spin and weave, because obviously that's what she did, but they actually like talk about spinning and weaving a little bit, or like that's what they're doing while they're talking, so it's mentioned, and I think that's really fun. I really like feeling connected to the story, and when they talk about spinning, I feel connected because I am also spinning or doing some other craft. I do a lot of fiber crafty things while I'm listening to this. Well, while I was listening to the Mists of Avalon series. This is not book 5, or it doesn't say it's book 5. Morgaine is the prologue, but all the characters in chapter 1 are totally new characters, totally new to me. I don't know all of Arthurian legend, so maybe other people who know it better would not be surprised by these characters, but I don't know these characters. So that's really interesting. And I enjoy that there's a world of legend that I don't know about yet. And I also started reading Elixir by Hilary Duff. Yeah, by Hilary Duff. It was on the shelf at the library. I saw it and I was like, well, I'll try it. And as you can see, I'm more than halfway through, and I still don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's not horrible. I probably would have liked it when I was, 14. But it's just, there's just not a lot of depth to the writing. And by the way, this is my, I think this is really, really funny. So the front cover just says Elixir by Hilary Duff, but it's actually Hilary Duff with Elise Allen. Yeah, so she didn't even really write it. Not really surprised. Glad I didn't pay for this book because it's not great. I'm hoping that the concept of the book, it's about the elixir of life. And it's about this girl who is the daughter of a politician and a archaeologist. I believe he's an archaeologist or scientist or something like that. He definitely does archaeology, but I don't know if he's an archaeologist or a scientist. I can't remember because like I said, this book, I'm only okay with it. I don't think it's great. But, it's all about the elixir of life, and she has these dreams with this guy, kind of like a soulmate type thing. Like, she's in 4 distinctly different eras on different continents, and the guy is always there, so I'm hoping the end is good and makes it worth reading. However many pages are in here, 330, that's acknowledgements. So 327 pages. Hoping it's going to be worth my while, but I'm kind of feeling that I'm going to be disappointed. So I'm going to try to finish it up today or tomorrow, so I can just know either way. And if I finish it today, then I can return it to the library tomorrow, which is also a bonus. That's what I'm reading. On to my 3 favorite things, which is about Michigan trips. I love going home to Michigan. I just love being at home because, number one, I get to see my family. It is really, really hard for me to live in Kentucky and not see my family frequently. Even when I went to college 2 hours away from home, and I came home every other weekend. Yeah, every 2 weeks, I was home. Not at my family's home, I came home to my boyfriend's home, but every other weekend, I came home. Because I need the connection, and I feel like that's lacking here in Kentucky. I don't know, I know part of it is because I didn't have a license, so I couldn't go on my own to places. But even now that I have my license, I still have the kids most of the time because Steve works really long hours. So I just don't have the hangout time that I would like. And when I go home to Michigan, I have that. I can hang out with my family, even with my kids there. I can still hang out. They don't mind that I have my kids, that I brought my kids, So that's really, really fun. I also, number 2, love the familiar stomping grounds. I can go to my favorite coffee shop. I can go to, my friends' houses. I can go to the mall that we all like to walk around and, be a mall rat for a couple hours, which is pretty much as long as my kids will handle it. It's just nice to know where things are. I feel like once I'm in Michigan, too, going back to the license thing, I'll be less nervous about driving because, as I said, when I had my permit, I did a lot of driving. So I think that will be nice, too. That will be a nice ease into having my license back. We'll be going to Michigan and driving around on roads that I know. And my last favorite thing is Ready Babysitters. My mom loves grandma time with the kids, so that's really nice. We have, Gabriel had a babysitter who would watch him when both Becca and I worked overnight, when we lived in Michigan. And he and his wife love to have both of the kids and take them for, a few hours while we're out there. pretty much every time we go out there. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see them this time because this is specifically a Christmas trip, so there's a lot of family things going on. But yeah, Ready Babysitters is really, really nice when you're a stay-at-home mom who doesn't get time off. Yes, you can come sit with me, except for the 2.5 hours that you do knitting. And here's the puddle. And are you ready to say goodbye? Because we're done. Thank you for hanging out with me for the past, or whatever. That was cute. And I hope you made something awesome with your sticks and string. Thank you for, I already said this, but thank you for coming. And I hope to, well, not really, I won't see you, but I hope you see me next week. And hopefully I can get these up, and this whole lack of having a computer cord won't make everybody not want to come watch. Because, blah, not because. I really appreciate the few people who have said that they look forward to when these upload again. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me to... He's trying to repeat what I'm saying, but I'm talking too fast for him to repeat everything that I'm saying. That's why I'm laughing. I really appreciate knowing that people are out there and actually want to watch the podcast. So thank you, and goodbye. See you next week.
Goodbye, sis.
I love you.